Hi, this is Walter Trout serving up the blues with AndreGraziadei and Backbeat.
All music is the same. It's just a new set of lyrics and a new backbeat.
So Walter, thanks for taking time out to have a chat. You started off playing trumpet and then, due to your brother's album, switched to guitar. Now, you've paid your dues several times over the past, 40 years now? Did you take singing lessons early on, or has your voice even got better with age?
I think it's just gotten raspier. It's gotten beat up.
Yeah.
When I listen to recordings of myself singing, trying to sing blues and rock and roll when I was 20, I sound like a choir boy. You know, it sounds like John Denver or something. And I just think from 40 years of screaming it, it's just gotten raspier. That's it, I think. I do, when I listen to my current albums, I like the vocals much more than the vocals on, recordings I did 30 years ago. So I don't have as much range, but I got more power and more rasp. Yeah. Yeah,
I asked Eric Burton that same question, and it's very along those similar lines. That was his answer. He was very satisfied with his singing voice now as opposed to, say, 30 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
So where would you say your blues playing is more rooted in? So Memphis, Chicago, New Orleans, West Coast, East Coast, or even British, thinking of John Mayall?
I don't know. I have a theory about all that, and that's just, you can live wherever you want, and because of recorded music, all those kind of things become irrelevant. I mean, in the old days, before recorded music, if you lived in Chicago, you went out and you heard Chicago blues, you had to hear it live, right? But now you can hear all of that, and you can try to put all of that into your playing. And that's what I try to do. And I've tried to have this discussion with people that a lot of the cultural barriers and a lot of the cultural influences on this kind of music, or any music, become less and less because of the invention of recorded music. And if I could come up with an example, I would say that you could take a kid in New Jersey in a little town like where I grew up, and he could talk like Tony Soprano, but he could one day at age 12 decide he loves Armenian folk music. And all he wants to do is Armenian folk music, and he gets all of it. He can purchase the records, he gets the instruments, he sits around, he learns it, he becomes an expert at it. Who's to say he's not a great player of Armenian folk music, even if he's never been there?
True.
A lot of the cultural influences break down because of that. You know, we have access to everything.
You got your first Strat in 1970, and after 39 years, retired it from the stage. Now, did it have any close calls or possibility of an early demise?
It had maybe plenty of close calls.
Yeah? One in case?
One time when I used to check it in on airplanes, and this was not that long before I retired it. This is one of the reasons I retired it. I used to check it in a flight case, and the airlines lost it for a week. And as far as I was concerned, it was gone. They didn't know anything. And then one day they called me up, and they had found it in a town called Abu Salim, Africa. And it actually, 3 days later, it was back at my house. But so that was a close call. Another time, when I was young and stupid and drunk, I played a gig at a club in Huntington Beach, and was standing out behind the club with a bunch of band members and a bunch of people, and imbibing various substances and standing around, and got in the car with my girlfriend and went home. 20-minute drive. Went home, rolled around in bed, laid down. As the sun was coming up, I went, my guitar. Ran down on my underwear, drove all the way back to the club, went in the alley behind the club, and it was leaning against the wall.
But you standing there in your underwear.
But I had the guitar.
That's a good story. But I mean, the luggage today, everything is just tracked. How is that possible? I don't know.
Well, this was 15 years ago, maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're regarded, I think, sort of as what I've seen till now, as the last minute man when it comes to songwriting. Do you ever have writer's block, and what do you do in that case?
A last minute man?
Last minute man as far as recording, writing songs for an album.
Oh, you mean where it's just write the whole
like
album?
Your wife says, you know, Walter, you got to record an album.
I just find it kind of easier to write under pressure. Now I have started a new CD.
Already?
Already. I started it not long after I got out of surgery. I went in the studio in LA and just sat on a chair. I had some great guys come in. I had John Mayall come in. Had the bass player from Little Feat, Kenny Gradney, come in. And we sat around and basically I had licks and we made up songs. Different approach. And they were all part of it. And that thing, I'm going to do a little more when I get home. I'm going to do a little more on it in July. I'm going to hopefully finish it around September, and it'll come out in the middle of next year. Mm-hmm. That's a different approach, and that's almost more scary because I go in there, I get these great guys that I say, okay, here, da 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 da. And we play it for a while, and Kenny Gradney goes, well, let's throw in a 4-chord here. And we come up with a track, and then we kind of, what do you want to do with the lyrics? And I pull out a box of lyrics, and it's different approach. Never done one like that. Kind of fun.
Nice to try something else.
A little scary, though, because I don't know, might suck.
Working without a net.
John Mayall came in, and I said, hey, John, you know, I've heard you at your house play really good boogie-woogie piano. You never do it on records, and they have a beautiful piano out there. And he went out and sat down, and he started playing boogie-woogie, and little by little we sat down and came in, and then he finished and said, okay, that's that. He went, said, hey, Eric, did you record that? Eric went, yeah. John said, well, there's your first cut. No rehearsal, no discussion, no nothing. It's very interesting. Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, why don't you play B3? That's another thing you don't do on records anymore. He walked over to the B3 and said, let's play a slow blues. And he counted to 4 and off we went. And got 2 cuts in 20 minutes. You know,
the way recording used to be.
Yeah, and that's actually what he said when he listened back to the slow blues. He went, that's the way we used to do it. You get 4 guys in there that know what they're doing, and you just play. And the whole thing was done. I made up words. They rhymed. I mean, it was just total off the cuff.
John Lee Hooker.
Spontaneity, yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played with him for a while, and that was interesting.
But you guys, when you record, you like to do it in 1 or 2 takes.
Yeah, otherwise it's, you start thinking about it, you lose it. If I wanted to think, I'd have played jazz or something that, you know, I don't have to be able to count past 4 to play this music. If I wanted to think, I'd have done something else. So, yeah, it's a 1. You can't get it in 1 or 2. Give it up for a while, because then you start thinking, and it all comes out very sterile. It's got to have some. It's got to have some blemishes. It's got to sound human. There's not much human music left. It's all fucking auto-tune and bullshit. Even guys that can sing, they have auto-tune. These people with these really good voices, and all of a sudden they start sounding like a robot. You know? Like, why are you doing that? There's an amazing gospel singer named Dietrich Haddon. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Can't say I have.
Go on YouTube, look him up singing live. He's as good or better than Sam Cooke or Wilson Pickett. He's one of the top 3 or 4 greatest soul singers I've ever heard. He's a gospel singer. It's all religious, but it's like soul music. And he's unbelievable. And then I got his album and it was all auto-tune. I'm like, this guy's got one of the greatest voices in the history of man, and he's got fucking auto-tune, you know. I don't get it. So, Dietrich Haddon.
Some people are just not confident enough, I guess. I don't know.
There's a clip on YouTube, Dietrich Haddon at the Apollo Theater singing his song called Sinner's Prayer. Look that up. And there's also a clip of him doing A Change Is Gonna Come that's insane.
My grandpa was a Baptist preacher. So
yeah? Well, Dietrich Haddon, he's about 23 and he's got his own church and he's a preacher, but he's as good as Al Green or Sam Cooke. I mean, he's. Then I bought his record and just like, what? Why'd you do this?
So how is it that you're more of a household name in Europe than your home country?
I'm a household name in my house. So
you're right about that one. I'll give you that. But
I headline festivals in the States. This is like this cliche I can't get past. I just did 3 shows. I was booked over Dr. John opening for Derek Trucks.
Cool.
It was Dr. John, me, and then Derek Trucks. And at a certain point, I don't know if you got to be the second coming of Jesus to get people to go, oh, well, you've actually done it in your own country, you know? That album there, Blues for the Modern Days, was on the Billboard Blues chart in the top 15 for 9 months. So I don't know what else I got to do. It's just this cliche. It's like there was a bar in the town I live in called Perks. I had the house band there for 12 years in my youth, and I still walk into a restaurant. Somebody goes, "Hey, Walter, you're the guy that plays at Perks." Yeah, I was 25. I've done a few things since.
Well, getting back to what you just mentioned, I think of the album Blues for the Modern Days. In 2012, it was on iTunes Best Blues Track.
Best song of the year.
Blues for My Baby.
Yeah.
I think of Sea of Tranquility. It's a prog rock website, and they named you the best in a non-prog category.
I'll have to look that
Figure
up.
that much.
Right now with magnesium, you know, I'm passing out from heavy metals in my system.
Well, that might fit.
That'd make me feel good.
And you've been named one of the top 100 guitar heroes of 2013. You got a 2-page spread in a magazine, a book somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
Now, all of this, how humbling is that, and how do you deal with it?
All that is just like, you can't listen to that. Because for every one of those you get some guy that sends you an email that says, "I went to your gig and you suck." You know, I got one today from somebody, and it's like, so you can't listen to it. You just, when I was a little kid, I hung out with Duke Ellington when I was 10, and one of the things he told me is, "Walter, if you go into this, don't worry about the hype, and don't worry about the press, and don't worry about reviews, and don't worry about glory. Try to be an artist or you will go nuts, because one day they'll love you, the next day they'll hate you." You know, you just can't read, you can't take that shit to heart. You know?
I guess just be honest about what you do.
That's it. If you look in the mirror and go, that's the best I got. And if it works, what's the Tom Waits quote? I'd rather be a failure on my own terms than a success on somebody else's terms, you know.
Eloquent.
Yeah.
You recorded a track with Joe Bonamassa for the Full Circle album. Now, he's just as prolific as you are, releasing albums just about every year.
He puts out an album. I do one a year. He does about 4, 5.
In different constellations, too. His career is going stratospheric. Mm-hmm. At an age where you had not yet gone solo, what took you so long to make that jump?
I was playing with John Mayall. I was playing with Canned Heat. I was playing with John Lee Hooker. I wasn't out to be a guitar god rock star. You can tell I really go in for image. I don't give a shit about all that.
So you're
not
just
going to find me in a fucking suit with a pair of shades and a light show. It's just me.
But I guess you were just happy being a musician.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And I wouldn't trade playing with John Lee Hooker for $5 a night for anything. To me, it's not about climbing and clawing up the ladder here. It doesn't interest me.
But that's playing with John. That'd be like the School of Blues.
Yeah, but I'm saying there are certain players out there that it's all about, I gotta have more, I gotta have more, I gotta have more, I gotta get big, I gotta have more, I gotta get big, now I gotta get big, now I'm big, now I gotta have more, I'm climbing up, you know, it'll drive you fucking nuts, I don't care. Mm-hmm. You know, I got a beautiful wife, great family, I got a career, I'm happy as I can be, and I'm not out, I didn't go into this for tonnage.
Well, you're well grounded.
I don't know. I prefer to look at what I have instead of what I don't.
Something else now. At the premiere for the new B.B. King documentary, The Life of Riley, you wound up being a little nervous playing in front of Jeff Beck. What are the I understandably, I guess. But what other situation would classify to you as unnerving? I mean, this situation was. What else would be along those lines, too?
I'm trying to think of the last time I did something that was unnerving. I'd like to play a song with the Rolling Stones, but I think I'd find it unnerving.
Really?
But I'd love to play a song with those guys.
You're going to be on tour sometime soon. Give them a call.
I can't afford to get in.
Oh, you got to pay your own way?
I'm joking. Mick Taylor's a buddy of mine. He's playing with him. That's good for him. Mm-hmm. You know.
But guest shot one song? Never know.
Yeah, it's up to them.
Did you ever know Gatemouth Brown?
Sure did.
I used to jam with him all the time. He's a crazy old man.
He was.
We'd sit around, smoke joints, and eat ribs.
One of the things he used to do lives on in my band, and that's when I don't say it's serious. He was serious.
You remind me of his philosophy, though. He said, I never fit in anywhere, so I fit in everywhere.
There you go. But when somebody says, hey, can I have your autograph? I always go, that'd be Fat Alice. We did shows with him with Mayall, and I was out standing with him, and people would come up, hey, Gatemouth, sign my album. And go, that'd be Fat Alice.
Oh, he's good at this shit.
On a new album, Luther's Blues, how much freedom of interpretation did you allow yourself?
Plenty. It's me trying to interpret the music of my friend, and I certainly am not going to approach the intensity that he had. He was one of a kind, I think. I put him up there in a certain pantheon of players who are able to affect you almost spiritually what they're playing and singing. You got to open to it. But to me, he was up there like with like a Itzhak Perlman or a Ella Fitzgerald or something. You know, when I would watch him play, pretty much more than any other blues man I can think of. When I watch him, I wouldn't get through 3 minutes before I started weeping like a baby. I still can't. I watch him on YouTube and I just break down. He's so honest, and it's from such a deep place, and there's no facade and there's no persona. That's what I want to do with my thing too. I don't want there to be a facade and a persona. I don't want them to come to see me because I'm the new big thing and I have a nice suit and a light show. I want them to come and hopefully be moved. And that's what it's about for me, you know.
Well, you've had many ups and downs in your career. You got yourself clean and your life direction in order. Are there any projects, or for instance, the Blues in the Schools program, where you've ever taken part in to give back some of this gift that you can give them? At
the high school in the town I live in, where two of my sons, one of my sons is out of there now, the other son is still there. They have a nationally famous music program, a performing arts society, and they do amazing shows there. And I go down there and do guitar classes, and it's great fun. Once in a while, the guy who runs the thing, the teacher's a bass player, and my son's a drummer, so once in a while we'll when the weather's nice, we'll set up at lunchtime, and the students sit outside and we play cream songs while they're eating, you know.
Wow, I never had that in high school. Damn. Well, Walter, thanks a lot.
Hey, Andre, it was my pleasure, man.